look, obviously a lot of good reps for both teams and a lot of good video. We got into a number of situations. Just finished talking with Matt. I thought it went really well. Guys were good, competing. Overall, I was really pleased, and obviously I've got a lot of film to look at. So, any questions?
Sean, Bailey left practice already yesterday.
He'll be fine. We just held him, and there's a chance he might even play Sunday.
What was it, Sean?
Nothing specific.
You got to look at different look defensively. How do you feel like your offensive guys responded?
Good. So these guys a year ago were more of an odd front team. They've kind of evolved to more of an even front with the new defensive coordinator. We've been seeing our own defense, which is like an odd front structure. So it's always good when you can get the opposite of what you're used to working at. Indianapolis, for instance, was more of an even front. So were these guys. So I think it's helpful when you get a chance to see the other. Or if you're seeing your even front all week, in New Orleans, we'd always want to see somebody maybe that played a 3-4 defense.
Sean, you're flipping the quarterback word, but it's still kind of the same phase thing where Jarrett might be in with some of your phase one guys.
Yeah, I think the plan, like I mentioned all along, I think what we're going to see, Bo starting out in phase one, Stiddy in phase two, and then Zach in phase three.
How'd you feel just about Bo Nix again going against another team?
Yeah, it's good. I mean, like I said, there's going to be a lot of video to watch. And there's third down, there's red zone, and it's hard to give you an evaluation right now. I was pleased that the practice ran smoothly. I thought both teams did a good job of, working with each other. And, we said at the beginning, let's make sure we finish this thing getting better. We're healthy. The quarterbacks, let's work together on this. And I thought Matt and his staff and our staff and both teams did a good job with that.
Can you compare the value you get from something like today versus what you see on Sunday?
Yeah, I'd say this becomes kind of like, equal to, if you're asking, of what we're going to get in a preseason game. These are good live reps, and you get the coaches off the field, and you get a chance to see these guys play. So it'd be very similar.
With the quarterbacks, obviously that was great, but how much true sort of like reading the action?
Yeah, you get a lot. You get different coverage looks. The techniques are different, personnel-wise, you got to know where their strengths are. So there's a lot that goes into it that's really helpful.
LaFleur said that most of the starters wouldn't play Sunday. You're going to play yours. Just your thought process on
just our schedule, their schedule.
Offensively, how have you seen the progress in situational football over the last several weeks?
Look, we're getting a lot of it worked, and we still have work to do. But I think there's so many things that can come up. We practiced a 2-minute at the end. We had red zone third. We just had a lot of different looks, and I don't know how many total plays. I think it was about a 2-hour, 10-minute practice, give or take. Overall, good.
In the final situation period, how pleased were you with the offense to get scoring?
Yeah. So look, we're trying to get in field goal range there, but the thing that happens in these drills or in a game, once you get in field goal range and you look up, then you're thinking about maybe how do we win this game? There's a little bit of a midstream adjustment that can take place. And the same has to happen defensively. When all of a sudden there appears to be a field goal, you got to understand that they're probably going to take some shots. We didn't finish the drill, which was fine, and we started with the next group, but it was good work.
Did you guys talk about team practices, or did you just agree on that?
Yeah, I think from the very beginning, it started with, can we get a game scheduled? The league's pretty good about, if you put in for a game, we put in for this game, and then it was like, what day? We don't know that yet. And then I think we, from the beginning, thought one practice would be good. So it kind of evolved.
Sean, you have a long history with Dan Dalrymple being your strength coach.
Yeah.
What are the qualities that makes him elite in that position, and what does his staff bring?
I think he's a real good communicator. He's passionate about what he does. And look, we're so much further along relative to recovery and strength and conditioning now. We're able to get each practice, we're able to see workloads for players. He's very adaptable. And I would say, a strong quality is, he's a real good staff member. He can relate to the players. He'll push them. Yeah, there are a lot of leadership qualities that I saw when we were together at Miami of Ohio 20 years ago.
Sean, because you can only be on one field, do you get any kind of like real time or updates from the?
I just asked, how to go, and then I'll go up probably and watch that side of the ball first, and then flip it and then watch the other side.
What you
Did
hear?
Cortland Sutton dunking over the goalpost bring back some Jimmy Graham memories?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, I didn't think about it. I mean, I remember it, but
The type of camp that you wanted to run
Yeah.
with the physicality and the way you wanted to callous these guys, the words you used, is today the type of barometer day where you want to see
it's another team, and it's, we're in pads, it's warm. How does that affect our tempo? I thought offensively we tend to be a fairly faster tempo type team, not no huddle, but just in and out, and you really get some information when guys get to be a little tired. You really do, and you want to avoid the mental false starts and all the things that can begin to happen when you're fatigued. And so this was another good test.
Sean, what do you feel about pre-snap motion in general? Are you like it? And
Yeah.
use it more?
Yeah, shift motion. Yeah, absolutely.
Or like to the Dolphins level or the Chiefs or?
Yeah, I think this plays that kind of start out looking the same that are different. You don't want every time we're here, the defense knows, so you're always trying to put maybe a play that we run in a core play we might run throughout the season, but we have to dress it up a little bit. So, and then it all gets back to how much can they handle, and then where are we going with the shifts and the motions. But yeah, we've historically had a lot of movement.
You talked last.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just kidding. You think you've done it more as the league does it more? Or
I think, look, last year was last year, but I think that we're a team that will have a plan relative to our tempo, our shifts. Sometimes get up, get set, go. I mean, what fits our personnel is most important.
You talked last week about the importance of a fast start to the season. With the familiarity the defense has with Vance in the second year, are you seeing some of that start to manifest in this defensive?
Listen, I think, are we further along today than we were a year ago? I think so. Yeah, I think we've kind of bolstered our defensive line. I think the communication, and I think Jim's done a great job on the back end working with Vance. And so these are these litmus tests that we get a chance to see, whether it's in a game or like a practice like this.
You mentioned you don't need to see it every day. So see it. Have you seen the?
Yeah, I think he's gaining confidence, moving around. He's certainly in good shape, and we'll get a chance again this weekend.
John, the Packers are a young team that found success in the playoffs last year. Do you see it as an advantage to work so closely with them today?
I think that's a little bit more coincidence. I don't know that I could honestly look you in the face and say, hey, I want to find a team that, in other words, I know Matt and he was looking for a joint practice, and that's it. It sounded good. But at the very end, I was trying to figure out who the oldest player on the field was, and both teams are really young. I think maybe 10 years would be the oldest player, but it's good work.
Sean, by the end of Sunday and after today's practice, ideally, how set will your roster be at that point?
Fair question. We're gonna have 2 or 3 different meetings, and we'll begin to, get to. I said this, probably at 60 right now, give or take 61. And then it's just managing the roster relative to practice squad. There's a lot that goes into that, that 53 cut, because when you think about it, at one stroke, I don't know how many, 32 times, whatever, there's a lot of players that hit that wire. And obviously the players waived can be claimed. They're on their first contract, or the players terminated are free agents. But a lot happens, and there's a lot, obviously, of evaluation going on. We talk all the time. You're not just competing with your position group. You're competing with the other 31 positions that you play. And so, you know, you go through this exercise, and I would say, you know, there's 9 or 10 spots probably I'm still like looking at. George is looking at. We're discussing, and we have another game here to use. I mean, it's the second preseason game, so we still have a lot of time.
In your experience, how typical is it to have those 9 or 10 spots still in flux?
Pretty normal. I would say pretty normal. Look, I'm going to date myself. Long before free agency, you'd have a draft class, and there'd be 2 rookies maybe make the squad. The turnover ratio would be far fewer, and it's much different now. But I'd say that I feel like it's pretty normal relative to what I'm used to.
With the conversations y'all are having about roster building, to get into he's a vet, so we can hopefully get a better practice squad. Has that happened yet? Or?
All of that practice squad. That's part of it. Yeah, I mean those are discussions George and I have probably 2 or 3 times a week. All right, thank you guys. Go ahead.
When you go up against a Packers team that's young like this, that turned it around, you used the Lions as an example to your team last year. Do you see how they fit the quarterback and how quickly things could change for us?
Sure. And we talk a lot about it. I think the Rams were a good example a year ago. When you, I've said this before, young and hungry can be dangerous. And so I'm encouraged.